Welcome to Chapter 1, numbers 5 through 12, and we're going to skip number 6. So you can follow along in your book, and this is a good time to get out your old parent graph toolkits and refresh your memory on parent graphs. We are going to be doing a sketch of each of these graphs, and that means to show the approximate shape and the correct location with respect to your axes, and clearly label all key points. All right, so our very first one, y equals x squared. You know that's the shape parabola. The rule also means square it. So in this table, if we square, 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 vertex is at 0, 0, and we plot those points. There we are. Nice parent graph parabola. All right, moving on to the next one. This one's name is cubic because the rule is cube, cubit. And we cube -2 times -2 is a +4 times -2, -8. This makes -1, 0, 1, 8. So here are our key points. And there we have a sketch of our cubic. And next is our reciprocal. The key here is just to flip over, find the reciprocal of each of these. And if you recall what that does, so you can go ahead and fill in the table, we end up with asymptotes crossing at 0, 0, a point at +0, +1, +1, and -1, -1, and the curves approach the asymptotes. That's the general shape of the graph. Moving on, the exponential. This one's an example with a base of 2. Exponential. Remember to be sketching these along with me. The exponential has an asymptote here. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. 2 to the power of 1 is 2. And then 2 squared, 4. That makes 8. If we go backwards, 8, half of that, 4, half of that, 2, half of that, 1. What's half of 1? 1/2. And half of that is 1/4. And we've got 1/8 right here. So if we plot some of these, we've got a pattern going on. Here's 0, 1. And then as we move over, it doubles. As we move over, that doubles. And that keeps doubling as we go. This one keeps halving. If we move one this way, it's half of that, half of that, half of that. Therefore, we're approaching the axis. And this is our absolute value graph. It's one of the easy ones. It's a V shape. Absolute value table is very simple as well. We just take the absolute value of each of these and it creates these points. And it looks like a nice perfect V. Make sure that when you sketch these you put your arrows on the ends of your lines. The name of it, absolute value. Absolute, there we go. Remember to be, I need to go to sleep. Remember to be writing this along with me. And here is our square root graph. You cannot square root these negatives without getting imaginary numbers. Remember that? But you can square root these. Square root of 2 is irrational. Square root of 3 is irrational, some sort of decimal. And square root of 4 is 2. So using the whole number of points that we get a nice picture of this graph. We call it the dead parabola because it's fell over sideways and it's cut in half. There we have it. All of our parent graphs. Okay, next we need to find the equation of a line that passes through these points. The most useful and simple way to do this for calculus and pre-calculus is using point slope and slope form. So here they are. These are the equations. So if we use this and these 2 points to find our slope, substitute, we get 17 for our y minus our other y, 8, divided by 8 minus 4, and that gives us 9/4. Now that we know m, we can plug that in right there. The 2 black stay the same letters, and the red x and y, we're going to choose one of these points. I picked this one because it's smaller. How about we put in 8 in place of the y, slope goes here, and the 4 goes here. There we are. And so that's A. B says, is parallel to, well, what is a slope that's parallel to 9/4? 9/4. So let's use the same slope again. Slope of 9/4. This time, though, we want it to go through the point -12, 20. So instead of the 8, we're going to put 20. Instead of the 4, we'll put -12. So minus the -12 makes +12. And there we have it. Okay, review of 0 and negative exponents. Okay, this asks us to fill out this table. We've got 16, 8, 4, 2 to the power of 0. Well, if we continue this pattern, half of 16, 8, half of that, half of that, half of that, 1, half of 1, 1/2, half of 1/2, 1/4, half of that, 1/8, half of that, 1/16. So we can use this table. So by looking at the pattern, we can define anything to the power of 0 as 1, and taking 2 to the power of -1 is 1/2 to the power of 1, which is 1/2. Okay, so using that, let's figure this out. Example, we've got 3 2's multiplied together, and 2 reciprocal of 2's multiplied together. That's one way to look at that. And that means 3 2's up top, 2 2's on the bottom. We can cancel a couple of pairs of those, and all that's left is a 2. So the solution's 2. So for your homework, go ahead and try out A, B, and C. Moving on to this one, factor the binomial. Factor, unmultiply, undistribute. Binomial just means that there's 2 terms. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So look for the greatest common factor. Let's look at this one. 17 is in both of these, so I'm going to factor out a 17. I've got 3 x's here, so let's do x to the 3rd. I've got 1 y, and let's write what's left after I factor out 17, 3x, and a y. What's left here is 1. And 34 divided by 2, 17, an x left, and a y. So there we go. I want you to do A and B on your own. Number 11, this one means 2x multiplied 3 times. So 2 times 2 is 8, x to the 3rd. Okay, recall this whole thing is multiplied twice because it is a binomial to the power of 2. So we need to use FOIL or rainbow rule or generic rectangle boxes, whatever, to do that. So I want you to complete that and do this one. And D, it's the reciprocal of each of these 3 times. So 1 over 3x times 1 over 3x times 1 over 3x. And we end up with 1 over 9, 3 times 3, 9 times 3, 27, x to the 3rd for that one. Alright, and last but not least, reminder of SOHCAHTOA. Sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Here's our hypotenuse. Here is our adjacent right next to. And opposite across from the alpha. So sine of alpha. This angle right here, opposite over hypotenuse, it's the ratio A over B. Okay, you finish B and C. And then we're done. See you tomorrow.